Do. And how you doing? This is Med. That is Isaac for the Cheesy Bear podcast. And we did have some guys lined up. They will be joining us a little bit later. Sometimes it's just life happens. Ain't that right, Isaac?
Yeah, for sure. Reg is coming in soon. He's never done a show before, and StreamYard can be tricky. I'll be nice to Med. We won't talk too much Packers Bears because
that's fine because I'm pretty sure I want to unload on some things too. So, but
I got more thoughts on Chiefs and the Steelers actually.
That's fine.
We got a lot of goodies for you guys. I think we're gonna hit some college football. Reg will be in about 20 minutes.
And we also will have Coach Murphy from the Code 4 podcast. He will probably be talking to us a little bit later. He is having some issues with his internet right now. It's a wonderful place in this area. Our internet provider sucks really bad. So I told him, I was like, dude, you're right around the corner from me. Just come on over. So have him up in here in the man cave.
Nice. Ooh,
wait. There he is.
Yeah. There he is.
There he is.
That was a pain in the ass.
Yep. So
this is on my Facebook, so let's try to keep it semi-clean, okay? Semi. I decided to on my Facebook, which is usually a mistake. So
that's the only one I'll drop. How about that?
That works for me.
It's
and
okay.
Everyone, real brief. This is a guy that I actually have coached with. He was actually kind of my mentor as far as being a defensive coordinator. I'd like to introduce to you, new and brand new to the podcasting world, Code 4 Sports Coach David Murphy. What's up, bro?
What's going on?
Okay, so man, I gotta ask you. Med was telling a story about you offline. I'm gonna start this story. I gotta hear some.
So stories. he wanted to hear some juicy tidbits about
me,
because he didn't really know much about like what I did and everything like that. But I told him the story about the time that you tried to block me.
I did block you. And that's my story.
Why don't you tell the story? Why don't you tell the story, Med? It's more fun. I wasn't there.
Well, I mean, a lot of about 23 kids were.
They're not here to debut this.
So how do you all know each other? Let's just start with that. So people that are watching, because we actually have 20 people watching right now. So
nice.
Which is going to go up. Tell them how you know each other. And Coach, why don't you tell people what you're planning for your show?
Yeah, absolutely. So honestly, it's kind of bad that I just completely forgot how Med and I met.
So I got you. So cool thing about us is that where we grew up is a really small town. We actually played on rival football teams and stuff like that, but we didn't meet each other until about 6 years ago. And what happened is my wife is actually best friends with his sister.
There it is.
And so they started talking and everything. And I just happened to live across the street from a guy that was already coaching with Dave right before I got into it. And he was designing some plays up and everything like that, Patrick actually. And he was designing some plays and he was like, well, we don't have an offensive line coach. And I said, well, shit, I used to play. No, it wasn't much of a block. I could tell you that.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Oh, we got another Packer fan.
I mean, it's all gravy because I mean the Lions, they've had decades of sucking. So good to see you, John. But anyway, Dave came over to interview me for potentially being on the team to coach and everything like that. We hit it off and everything, and then it kind of just fell in place.
Nice. And Murph, what are you planning for your show, dude?
Yeah, so listen, this has been a work in progress. You guys have done this before. I'm new to this thing. we're going to cover all sports. I'm going to cover everything I can. But I'm going to mix a little bit of what I do for a living with sports, being a police officer and a cop for almost 20 years and just loving sports in general. I was like, let's put it together, see what happens.
Cool, dude. Well, I'm highly happy you got to join. We've had a blast on here. This has been a really cool season. This guy, Detroit Sports, is really awesome. We're going to be bringing him back on. He's living his best life right now. This is like Med when the Bears were winning, and I got to see Happy Med. I've seen Happy Med several times. I got to see Happy Bears fan Med, and that is a revelation, people. He was wearing shades. They were like 4-2. It was 4 games ago. He was living his life, and that is very similar, although he's had it for a couple seasons now. John from Detroit Sports Podcast. Murph, we've had a lot of cool guests on. We had an author on recently who wrote a fantasy book. We're going to be having him on again soon. Hopefully, I reached out. We had a Sirius XM host on this season. We've had a guy. This guy was awesome. We had Ken Crippen from Football Learning Academy. Murph, you would love this guy.
Nice.
Let's get rolling. We'll refer you these people once you're up and going. This dude was the best. He's has a Football Learning Academy. It goes to retired players. He had Brian Urlacher on this season. He had Chris Berman on. He's had several Hall of Famers on just this year, and getting to talk to him. He's written a book about the Packers, the Bills. He's awesome. I don't have my shades.
And
is that the Eberflus?
Just to let you know,
Eberflus got fired?
Yes.
What?
You did? Really? Well, shit. Now
No, I'm definitely.
So I'm just gonna let you know right now, Murphy. We got you for an hour and 15 minutes, and you're going nowhere.
You're going nowhere. I love
it. I love it.
So we actually went to a hockey game, and they were literally playing the first ever with Toby McGuire. They were playing Spider-Man, and literally we were having a ball with the other hockey fans that were with us. And it was the part where Macho Man was in there, and David was literally reciting lines word for word, and everyone else just cracking up. It was a good time. But we're not talking about the past anymore. We're going to be talking about the future.
Okay, so I've got some questions. I want to ask about how y'all met and stuff, but let's get into some football chat. Yeah. Murph, who are you a fan of? I hope it's not the Carolina Panthers.
No. Listen,
good choice.
I am just now getting into NFL. Obviously, I know Med's a big Bears fan there, and I always pick on him every time I see him. I'm like, the Bears, just because it's fun.
Yes,
great skit from Saturday Night Live, of course. I don't really have an NFL team, to be quite honest with you. So,
okay,
been watching everybody. I'm just kind of looking at everything. So, I mean, I checked out that Bills-Chiefs game the other night. While I was trying to get everything up and running, and I did not watch the Bears-Packers game. Sorry, man.
I actually missed the Packer-Bear game. I've read all about it. I heard all about it after. We'll hit that in a second. Since you saw the Chiefs game, and I have a lot of thoughts on that. I know Med's got some questions too. Here's my first one really quick, and then we're just going to kind of round table this, okay? Do you guys still believe that the Chiefs are going to three-peat, or did Sunday give you concern about that offense and their ability to score more than 24 points in a game? What do y'all think? Because I thought this last year, but I just don't feel like Mahomes always figures it out, but there's a reason nobody's three-peated. So that's my thought. Ned, what are you thinking?
Thanks, Seth. So the way that I actually look at it,
I like that because I actually know that reference.
So the way that I look at it is, I already had some concerns before even this game started. It was really one of those things like, when are they going to take their first L? You saw Denver play them last week. They did a really stand-up job and everything, but it always seemed like the Chiefs had a horseshoe shoved up their butt, and they were just barely hanging on, and in the very end they win the game. Now, that is the mark of a great team, don't get me wrong. You win the close games. But
I get it.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we'll talk about that later, but you look at what the Bills had, it was just going to be a matter of time before they ran into a team that had that offense like the Buffalo Bills that could actually score more than what the Chiefs can actually hold up. I mean, in my personal opinion, I said this plenty of times before, is when they lost a lot of the people that they did on the offense, not just Ladarius Sneed, but you're talking about Willie Gay and a handful of other defensive players, that was going to hurt. Travis Kelce has not really been doing that well this season. In fact, he's starting to look every bit of his 34 years. And then every receiver that they brought in to really boost up that receiving cord, except for Hopkins, but he's only been with the team for 2 weeks, they're hurt. And, it's right now that, they will be getting Pachinko back and everything like that. But I think it really does put into account, a lot of people feel like Baltimore can beat them. I think that, the Bills have a good chance, but Mahomes is amazing in the playoffs. He's 15-3 lifetime in the postseason. 2 players have beaten him, Brady and Burrow. And, one's retired, one is not making the playoffs. So we'll see what happens. And, it's just one of those things that, you have to be able to stop the other team.
I agree with Seth. Their window may not be close. Kelce looks washed to me, but he's still 3rd in fantasy, and he still has over 500 yards on the season. So somehow, some games he's still putting it together. And I almost wonder, like I heard on Bill Simmons, they're putting him on the shelf sort of to a degree until the postseason, because he's shown some flashes, but they don't have anybody that can move the chains consistently. It's only Xavier Worthy, and he doesn't look like he can do it. Hopkins can't. He can catch contested passes like Kelce, but he can't push it. Neither can Juju. And without Pacheco, they don't really have a threat in the running game. Hunt tries, but the offensive line's garbage. I think this team's going down. Nobody's three-peated for a reason, and I think the Chiefs need to restock the cupboard on offense. Murph, what do you think?
I mean, you guys are obviously more the NFL guys right now than I am. But, again, I did watch the game. And I'm just going to say, I think Josh Allen did a great job attacking Kansas City's defense. I mean,
he did.
And I think the Bills may have actually shown everybody how to beat Kansas City just simply by keeping the defense just driving hard. I mean, the Bills kept Patrick Mahomes to less than 200 yards through the air and forced him to do 2 interceptions. So, I mean, they forced him out of his pocket. And I think the Bills showed everybody how to beat him is what I think happened.
I agree, man. Also, Allen can do this in the regular season. This is the year. The defense isn't while it's good, the defense isn't outstanding. It's the pass defense is 14th in EPA, 4th in rushing D, that's really good, but DVOA, they're down to 9th or 10th now. There's been so much stress. I know Pacheco's back this week. That could be huge for them, but the offensive line's a little mediocre, and the defense, while it's good, it's starting to stress a little, and it's not elite like it was last year. They were 2nd last year. Losing Sneed is a big blow. Sneed's one of the best corners in the league. When you have a Sneed and McDuffie, that's different than a McDuffie and the other guy. It's just it's a drop off. And they had to make that choice because they had to choose between Chris Jones and Sneed. They chose Chris Jones. So sorry you're hearing this 5-year-old scream with the ground.
It's all good. And also, everyone, that's Seth Foster. He is my co-host on my show, Shots from the Sideline. So whenever you're going to see him pop up every now and then, he's very, very intelligent on the game of football.
Yes, he is. Murph, we're going to hit some college.
Okay. Hey, listen, I'm good. We'll run with it.
On the other side, I agree with what you said. I feel like Allen picked his spots, and I really like that he digested that last play. He's been making some mistakes recently, but he's cut down the turnovers this year. Do you guys think I got one last question? I'm gonna let Matt start hitting them. Do you guys think the Bills are the team to beat in the AFC? Do you guys think they're the best challenger to the Chiefs, or do you think it's somebody from the AFC North or somebody else?
So you want to go first, Murph, or you got?
Yeah, I'll go real quick.
Right.
I mean, again, you guys are my NFL gurus right now while I learn this. But if I was to base it off of that game, I mean, I think what Allen got done shows a lot of confidence from the coaches that he can, in fact, lead the team with that big run at the end of the game. So, I mean, I think Bills could be the ones that actually challenge the Chiefs this year. Just looking at the stats, looking at what the Bills are putting up, and I've got it pulled up on my iPad right now. I mean, they're doing good. I mean, they're 8-2 right now, or excuse me, 9-2 right now. So I mean,
8-2, yeah,
or 8-2. I can't read my own handwriting sometimes. So I think, yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting season, especially for me getting into it and really learning it. So on that side of the ball, college is my jam. So,
I've been trying to watch more of it. My wife was in a car wreck, and not just that. Man, I've been so busy. I've missed some NFL games the last few weeks. I knew I was going to miss it. I missed the Packer Bear game. I got to see the Chiefs. I got to see the Chiefs Bills game, which is the one I was really waiting for. But we're going to hit some college football playoff stuff. But man, what you got?
My take on that is at the beginning of the season, I said it was Houston Texans that I thought that would be the team that could actually challenge the Kansas City Chiefs this year. But, of course, they got some injuries. Stephon Diggs is out now. Nikhil Collins is coming back. And they seem to be purring right now. But really and truthfully, the two teams that I really think that will actually have a really good chance of putting some damage on the Chiefs' chances are, one, the Bills. The other one is not the Ravens, but the Steelers. And the reason why I say that is because the Pittsburgh Steelers have a Super Bowl caliber defense. They got a good, not great running game. And Russell Wilson actually gives them a little bit of a passing identity. I mean, you look at his numbers, they're not spectacular, but he's thrown 6 touchdowns. He's thrown 2 interceptions, but he has a 94.9 passer rating right now. And, it kind of reminds me a lot of the teams that he had back when he was with Seattle, when basically all he had to do is hand the ball off, hit the big play every now and then. He's got big target in George Pickens and another one in Fairmouth. But other than that, that's all he has. The next 2 players that actually are leaders in the receptions from 1 through 4 is Najee Harris, his running back, and then Jaylen Warren, the guy that does the change of pace. So you look at what they have. Pittsburgh has a chance because of that defense. The Bills have a great offense. And, and really and truthfully, if you really look at outside the Raiders, Denver is really accelerated to where they're actually looking pretty good, but they're not going to challenge just yet. And then you have the Chargers that looked really good the other night.
We got Reg's in, and really quick, Reg, you want to plug your show and stuff? And then we were talking Chiefs Bills, but we actually started a little late, so we kind of just gotten into our stuff. We're hitting Chiefs Bills right now. So really quick, you want to tell everybody where to find you, your show with your son, and your social medias?
Yeah, well, thanks, guys, for having me on. Just enjoying that last segment, just listening to you guys break it down. It's great to be here. On X, I'm at Irish_Cowboy88, and our podcast is Sons of Star Pod. On X, Sons of Star Pod. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple as Sons of the Star Podcast.
And I'm going to be nice. We're not going to talk a lot of Cowboys or Bears today because Med's in a bad mood, and I don't want to make him feel worse.
Well, I'm not in a bad mood.
I'm not that impressed. We won by a block kick. We Chiefs did. That's like the Bears have looked terrible. I'm not that impressed. I'm really not. They lost to the Patriots by 16. Who does that?
I mean,
who does that? And then we barely edge you guys.
Yeah.
I'm not that impressed. I'm not. We should have played way better than that. I'm not saying win by 30. Win by 7. Win.
There's a reason why he picked that number, by the way.
Like, y'all's D is solid. Your pass D is, but your run D is like, there was a way to attack this team, and we just didn't do it. And I'm not saying Jordan Love looked terrible, but he threw another pick in the red zone. I'm getting tired of those. And our defense, man, just didn't.
They did enough.
We don't. Here's the problem: you let go of Preston Smith, and you don't have anybody that can challenge, stress the offensive line consistently. You don't have that pass rush. Collectively, Halfley can scheme up some stuff, but we don't have that dude. Like, there's T.J. Watts don't grow on trees. Micah Parsons don't grow on trees. But we let one of our better pass rushers go, even aging. And we still couldn't get to you guys with one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Med's loving this because I'm not like that impressed. I'm actually annoyed.
Shit, well, feel how I feel for the last decade. I mean,
yeah. Imagine being on the other end of that.
Yeah,
everything you said is true, but you actually won. So it's
I know.
worse
So we still figured it out. Good teams figure. That's what the Chiefs do. They figure out ways to win close games.
Yeah.
Good teams win those one-score games, and we're obviously a good team. I was hoping we graduate to being a borderline great team. I think the ceiling's there, but we're not showing it consistently. So I think, and that's youth that happens. So we'll see. But okay, we'll hit the Packers Bears more in a minute. Reg, what was your thoughts on Chiefs Bills? We were talking about how Bills might be the best challenger. Med was saying Steelers. What was your breakdown of that game?
Funny story. I was down in Saddlebrook, Florida for the weekend for work. It wasn't vacation, but I was driving back on Sunday, and I don't want to just listen to podcasts. I want to know what's going on. So back to the old AM radio I go, and they got Bills Chiefs. I'm listening to the whole game, and I'll tell you, there's something about listening to the game. There's just something about it than not just watching on TV where you could kind of dip in and out. It's like you're listening to everything, and they're breaking it down. And it sounds to me like the Bills were the better team on the field, and that they needed that a lot more than Kansas City did. I will say that. So, I'm impressed, but I'm not ready to pencil them in, through the AFC Championship. I'm not ready to do that yet because I don't think the Chiefs are anywhere near healthy. And their record, when you break it down with how many injuries they've had, is probably 2 or 3 wins ahead of what it should be. So I don't think there's any panic in Kansas City over that one loss.
Me neither. I am concerned about their offense long term, and the D isn't quite on the level it was last year. But somebody's going to have to beat them in the playoffs first. I just don't think they're going to three-peat. But that's just my opinion.
What's going
on? I'm starting to feel like they're not either. I think the Bills. I think they might get through. I really do. Unless Josh Allen goes down, but I just feel like they're more complete. And Kansas City, I'm not sure they're stronger than the Bills on either side of the ball right now. Maybe a little bit on defense, but man, I think the Bills are more complete.
Yeah,
and I do too. I
mean, that Amari Cooper trade really did help him out.
Man, he made some good catches. Like, he can still separate and make contested catches. And
you don't have to tell me.
But Hopkins can't separate anymore. He can just make the contested
catches. I wasn't
going
to say that.
Cooper, I know. I'm sorry. The Cowboys letting go of Cooper was a mistake. They really needed him. Getting Brandon Cooks, I like him.
Yeah.
But Cooks has dropped off a notch.
And well, Cooper hasn't. He's out the whole year. He's hurt out the whole year. So
yeah, that's true. He really hasn't really played this year.
They will argue. I don't believe anything coming out of their mouths over there at all. But they will argue that Amari Cooper was a move they made for the now because they did win a playoff game that year that they brought him in.
Yeah.
They will tell you they had no intentions of paying the rest of that massive contract he had. Now, I would argue he was better than you thought he was going to be. Restructure the contract and keep him. But that they claim it was financial. They didn't dump him for Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks was like the next best wide receiver they could find in free agency for the money they wanted to spend. And he was, he's an aging receiver who now has injuries that would be 2 and 3 weeks in your 20s. And now that he's, 30 years old, he's out 6 weeks or 8 weeks. So,
hey man, I've been working out, which is helping, but my damn shoulder, I'm 36, my shoulder's killing me. Like 30, you're just like, I can't even imagine playing in the NFL at my age now, but 30, you've been playing for a decade. It takes a toll, man.
Yeah.
It really does. It does. Jason's got a good question for you. I'm going to throw it up. I like this. Jason's asking, do you think Coach McCarthy's gone at the end of the season? I don't know if you saw Reg last night. I said, is Jerry going to come to his senses and fire him last night? Because
Reg is salivating right now as soon as he read that.
Yeah,
he's gone.
Jerry's only fired one coach in season, and he's owned the team since 1989. So that one time he fired Wade Phillips was for embarrassing him on a primetime game.
What was that?
And I think it was, this is where my memory fades here, but I want to say it was against the Packers, Sunday Night Football, and y'all dropped a 50 burger. And Jerry was, sitting here watching this embarrassment, and he fired Wade Phillips. And Jason Garrett came in and did just a good enough job
to keep
that
it
they
for
were
8
stuck.
years.
They were stuck with him. Right?
You nailed it. 1-7, and it was 45-7. You nailed it.
Oh man,
Packers. Good memory, man.
Yeah, I remember that.
Sorry to interrupt. You were great. You're spot on there.
But yeah, I mean, so you get Garrett in there, and then I don't know what they did. Maybe they went 4-2, 5-2, something like that. They were already out of contention, just like we are this year. Jason Garrett comes in. He's only supposed to coach these small segment of games, and then they would start looking for a coach. But the guy comes in and he turns the team around. And then the guys in the locker room, we like Garrett. We like Garrett. So then you get three back-to-back 8-8 seasons, in a playoff here and a playoff there, and you get mediocrity, and they don't want to go through that again. McCarthy's on contract to the through the year, and then they'll just walk away. They'll just part ways. I wish I would have fired him because I thought it was an embarrassment last night. I would have fired him last night, but Jerry did not fire him. They've lost NFL record 6 straight games where they've been down 20 points or more at home. How more embarrassing does Jerry want before he fires McCarthy? McCarthy, his office door should have been locked this morning. There's no way he should have been allowed back into the building at all. But
the most shocking thing is that the only guy that got fired today was the Jets GM. Eberflus didn't get fired. That one would have been the most surprising. Doug Peterson should have been canned after that month. Yeah. That was just terrible. So it probably should have been Peterson and then McCarthy, and then you could have talked to me about Eberflus, but the Jets GM was not on my bingo card of firing.
Joe Douglas, yeah. No,
Rodgers just has his way for whatever he wants.
People are arguing that McCarthy doesn't have any weapons to work with. Dak is out, and last night they lost 2 more offensive linemen. But, okay, you lost all these guys, but your field goal kicker hit a 64-yard field goal, and you took the points off the board to take a penalty to then go on 4th down. I'm like, he's not going for it on 4th down because he already took 3 points off the board once. What's he do? He goes for 4th down. They get stopped. They get 0 points. The kicker doesn't get a 64-yard field goal. McCarthy gives up 3 points. What else does he do last night? It's like 4th and 9, 4th and 10. He runs a fake punt. That's like a 4-yard pass. The punter completes the pass. Guy gets tackled. Turnover. 4th down. McCarthy runs a fake punt. He takes 64-yard field goal off the board. That has nothing to do with personnel. Those 2 things have nothing to do with personnel. That's just bad coaching. That's why I say he should have been fired last night. Now I know for a fact he will not get fired. And when contract runs out, they'll walk away and he'll say, "Oh, thank you, Mike. You've done a great job." Pat him on the back and off he goes. But Murph, what else could he do?
So I'm actually looking at a quote right now, and I know we were going to talk a little bit more about the Cowboys, but Red, you're coming in. I'm not an NFL guy. I'm a college guy, so I'm just not getting into it. But I'm actually looking at a quote right now that says Jerry Jones has no interest in firing Mike McCarthy midseason because he is a heck of a coach and a great coach in mind.
Ouch.
And I'm actually reading from a very credible paper online.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not going to fire him. He's going to let the contract run out, and they're going to part ways. And Mike would go with his head up because that's what I don't know. I don't know why, but that's one area that Jerry, for some reason, has a big heart when it comes to fire. He doesn't fire coaches. He just doesn't.
I don't think he wants to pay the 2 coaches. I think it's a money thing with Jerry.
I don't
Jerry
know.
wants to make as much money. It might be low.
So that's
actually a question. He's got these guys in his weddings, and he's got them at family vacations. He gets tight with these coaches.
Reg, this is going to be a hard point question I'm about to ask you.
All right.
Man.
So
I think you were going to bring the heat on Reg tonight.
I'm used to it.
So the question is, and then we'll have to move on to some of the other stuff that happened as well. Do you think that Jerry Jones is more concerned with making money than actually putting a quality team on the field to challenge for a Super Bowl?
Yes.
Sorry,
not for me. Yes.
I think it's a little of both. And I know for a fact it's not just trying to make money.
Yeah.
Because if you're just trying to make money, he would step aside.
Now.
He would step aside because you can make more money by not working 60-hour weeks and being concerned with all this draft picks and free agency and all the crap that he meddles in. As wrong as he is for meddling in it, that's a lot of work. Why would he put in all that work except for he's literally thinks that he can win? And he's made it a mission that prove to us all that don't believe he can do it, including myself. He's trying to prove to us all that he can win without Jimmy Johnson building that team. And he's been trying to prove it now for 29 years. And he's going to keep trying to prove it. If he just wanted to make money, he'd let somebody else do the work. That's my take on it.
I agree. All right, let's hit some Packers Bears. I've been dying. Sorry, Reg.
No, I got to listen to this on the radio as well. So
11
I'm well schooled on this game.
Yeah.
11 in a row. How are you feeling, sir?
Well, you and Janae tried to hit me with a Oh no, I was pretty pissed. I'm not gonna lie. And also I got a take on Joe Douglas too. But as far as like so Janae actually tried to give us a live video call. And I just straight up said, like, no, it's not happening today. This is like right after the game. I was not going to hear shit from about this game because I'm going to tell you right now, you might want to tell your kids to volume down low because
earmuffs.
Warning: the following content may be explicit.
Earmuff time.
Yeah, right.
So me and Dave being former coaches. Oh, by the way, Cowboy Regg, Coach DeMurph, he lives in Bluffton too. So
I gotta get together once and do a show, and I'll just video in. Seriously.
All the South Carolinians up in here.
Well, you gotta do me like that, bro.
Low country.
That's right.
Janae, I love you, but when I sit there and I look at what Eberflus did, he was playing not to lose, but he damn sure wasn't playing to win. And when you sit there and you sit PAT for 40 seconds, run another play, get a little bit closer, give your kicker a better chance of getting closer to actually kicking the ball. Whenever you're kicking it 46 yards away, you're going to have to kick it low. Yep. And it was a bad look whenever you hear about the Bears sending off some video about there should have been a penalty and everything. Look, it's forgotten. We lost. That's what it is. Eberflus flused it. He flused us real good. And, it's just one of those things where you're just like, why is this guy still here? A lot of people were calling for his head last season after the end of the season, which ended up in a disappointing loss to y'all again. And at the very end of the day, you hire someone that can beat your rivals. It's not a rivalry right now. We're getting our ass handed to us every single year for the most part, except for this past game. And it's infuriating. It's very disheartening to be a Bears fan sometimes because you look at what our franchise does. It's very similar to what the Cowboys do as far as the coaches go, because, Jason Garrett should have been let go before he had those 8-8 seasons for 3 straight years. I remember that.
No kidding.
And it's just one of those things where you scratch your head and you're like, okay, it's not working. Cut it off, throw those parts away, bring in someone that can. And it's frustrating because it always seems to be the same freaking recipe that we go for. We look for a defensive-minded coach to lead a great defense, run the ball. It's the first time that we have a quarterback that can potentially throw for 4,000 yards. Sorry, Justin Fields wasn't going to do it. And it's asinine. It's frustrating. We've been waiting almost 40 years. In fact, next year will be the 40-year anniversary of the Bears winning a Super Bowl. It's been 40 long years, and we're constantly told to be patient about it. Eventually, your patience is going to wear thin. And, we have nothing to show about it. I mean, I got to take a hot tub time machine to go see when we're irrelevant.
Great White Buffalo.
Yep. So there you go.
Here's the thing, Reg, I actually want the Bears to win a game, so it's a rivalry, but they're not there. They keep doing the same thing. They can't protect their quarterback. They got him some weapons, but he doesn't even have time to get to the ball to his weapons. And also, you're starting to see him regress, actually, because he's getting hit so much. They don't have the systems in place. They don't have a good offensive coordinator. They don't have an offensive-minded coach. They don't have a guy who has a clue on offense at all. So Caleb isn't getting the coaching he needs. The structure isn't in place. I like Poles, but he's got to get the guys underneath him to set this guy for success. The Packers have won Super Bowls and had consistent Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and I know Lubb's, made some mistakes, but he still looks pretty good, obviously. Because they're allowed to sit, they have a great quarterback coach usually. They usually have a good offensive coordinator or head coach, and they give them time to develop. The Bears rushed this guy out there. He didn't have a vet to learn, not necessarily behind, but even next to on the sideline. And he's just getting wrecked. And that's why I was disappointed we didn't hit him, because the Bears line is trash. Weird. So I'm concerned for Caleb's long-term future. Somebody last week said, you'd rather have Caleb than Love. And I was like, at this point, I don't think that's true. Caleb's getting destroyed. That's the way to break a quarterback. You get hit too much early on, and sometimes you never get it back. Like, Burrow's lucky that he still has a lot of injury issues, but he got wrecked early on. The Bengals are lucky he's, still balling. It's a lot of thoughts, but I don't know if the Bears are going to be able to set up Caleb for success, because there's more than just his protection.
I will say that we're going to set up for a success after this season, because Eberflus won't be there. And one thing I can actually say, that if you look at what Caleb Williams is doing right now, yeah, he's getting the shit beat out of him. I mean, he leads.
How many sacks in the season?
He had. How many did y'all have this past game?
I think it was only 3. I'll look.
Okay, so he passed 40 sacks. He's at 41 right now.
That's way too many.
And, that's way too many. But, we need offensive line. But the one thing I will say is he has the ability. We, at that point, after Christian Watson got the ball, didn't get touched for 80 yards, and he was able to actually take the Bears, drive them to the point where they actually could attempt a field goal. The biggest problem I have is that whatever. It's one of those deals where I'll just say, just run the ball up the middle for an additional 5 yards. I mean, really and truthfully, Jason, let's be real. Y'all were lucky y'all won.
We are. Reg, what are your thoughts on this, man? Did you get to watch this one?
I got to listen on the AM radio again.
AM radio is great. I used to do that. I would be out driving. I listened to LeBron's shot, one of his first game winners in the playoffs. It was a memory I'm never going to forget. I was listening to it while I was working, and it was the coolest thing, seriously.
Yeah. But, it was shocking the way it ended. I did, listening to the clock tick down. And I'm like, listening to what went down there with Med describing it. And I'm like, yeah, I remember hearing this. It's just ticking and ticking. I'm like, they're going to run a play. You're listening on the radio. You don't realize they're not running another play. And that was shocking to me. So when they blocked the field goal, it was surprising, but not really shocking. It was like you could kind of see the little meltdown at the end. That always trickles over, doesn't it? If you're melting down in the last 30 seconds, that last play is a disaster. Happens every time. And you could kind of sense that. But here's what I don't understand. The league as a whole, Med, you're going to hate this, buddy. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm going to do this to you.
It's all good. Hit me up with it.
The league as a whole should be looking at the Green Bay Packers as a model for how you develop a quarterback. They've done it 3 consecutive times. They're about to strike gold a 3rd time, but they didn't really strike gold. They invested, and they invested wisely. You should have some veteran in place, even if you're not winning playoff games, but you're just competing. You put a veteran in place, and you let the guy develop behind him. I think it's a mistake playing him, and I am starting to get worried about him. I had no idea he had 41 sacks, man. Now I'm worried, man. I'm worried. You can't blow this. You built your whole team around the guy. You can't blow it.
Well, if they lose a couple more games, they need to do what the Giants just did and just bench them.
Yeah.
I mean, and as far as like Joe Douglas goes with the Jets and everything, you did kind of say earlier that Ron had something to do with it. You look at what Joe Douglas did with his draft picks beforehand, outside of the one draft where he had Joe Johnson, Sauce Gardner, and Garrett Wilson, he didn't really do much. I mean, it's the proof is in the pudding. And then when me and Reg talked a little bit on Twitter about this, or X, excuse me, when you have a quarterback that you want to bring onto your team and he brings you a grocery list of the players he wants you to pursue in the free agency, that is a type of problem where I would say, you know what, I'll figure it out. Although it is the Jets, and if there is one team that cannot figure out the quarterback position as bad as the Bears, it's the Jets.
This is true.
It is.
I love what Janae said. Love you, man. It's going to be all right.
Yeah, I mean, they're at least the Bears have never taken a Hall of Famer and drove him into the dump.
That's true.
The Bears never had a Hall of Fame quarterback, but that's another story. But they didn't drive one into the dump.
The bad thing is the Jets did that with two quarterbacks.
Both Packers, they give them,
and they were both Packers.
Well, give them to them when they were like 39, 40, when they're over the hill. You can have them after we've used them, gotten a Super Bowl.
So does that mean Jordan Love's eventually going to go over there too?
Probably Love. He's going to love to be a Jet.
You know what's funny? He's really easy Aaron Rodgers is going to go to Minnesota. I was like, I don't think Minnesota's going to do that again.
I think they
because
learned their
got JJ, even if he can't come back. But Rodgers looks so washed, and people forget that year with Favre with the Jets, he wasn't great. He had like 22 picks, 22 interceptions, and they were like, what, 8-8 that year? The Jets suck, and they've got to be let's just be honest here. I wasn't going to go on a Jets tangent, but the Jets have got to be one of the most freaking disappointing 3-8 teams in league history.
Yep.
You've got Aaron Rodgers he's still Aaron Rodgers. He's not the Aaron Rodgers he was. But you've got Devontae Adams. You got Garrett Wilson. You got Breece Hall. You got Braylon Allen. You got Sauce Gardner. You got that defensive line.
It up.
Like, what? You're 3-8? This is what I was talking about Aaron Rodgers 2 years ago. He was still playing MVP level, but he wasn't getting anything done in the playoffs then, and he was pissing me off. And now he doesn't even get you close to sniffing the playoffs. And with that roster to be 3-8, Zach Wilson could do better. And he did.
He was doing better, yeah.
Zach Wilson had a better winning record, or better record as a quarterback, and it doesn't just all fall on the quarterback, but Zach Wilson had a better record as the Jets quarterback than Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go post that on Twitter. It's going to go bananas.
It's going to go ham.
It's going to go ham. Because this guy needs to just retire and shut up. I'm over him.
Let him go to his dark room.
Yes. Oh, my buddy is listening.
Oh, there it is.
That's a retirement home for Packer greats. Love it.
Yeah, and then they go to Coppertown.
It's true, Dave. You nailed it, man. He's actually watching this.
I like
never
that.
watched it.
So,
my buddy from like 6th grade.
Dave has been being really nice with us, so we need to actually move into college football for a second. Reg, Coach DeMurph, I coached with him. He's an SEC guy, but you're going to love this. He is also a Notre Dame guy, and I think I see your sign right back there in the background in between.
There it is. Like a champion today, right here.
I see it.
Right.
I see his Notre Dame one. Yeah.
Right there.
I got my whole wall back down. This side is all Notre Dame. The back side's all Cowboys, but this side of the wall over here, as you can see, I got a piece of the old bleachers from the old stadium up there. I got a little plaque of that, and our old Play Like a Champion sign that's been with the family probably 15, 20 years. We've moved a couple times, but we bring that sign with us. So that gets a double tap. On every game day, I get a little double tap on the sign.
Yep. So my kids actually go ahead. Sorry.
Murph, I got to tell you, man, you're coming in on one of the best shows because Reg is like one of my favorite dudes.
Little Zach Martin right there for you.
With Med. So this is Murph, you're getting this is a blast, man. I'm really happy you got to join for this one.
Likewise, I'm glad I got the
technical Stars Cup, even though they sucked last night, Reg.
Yeah, I hope you had fun. Murph, tell him according to the current college football playoff rankings that came out tonight, did you see who Notre Dame would play? Seeded 8th, they would be if the season finished today. They would play a host to what SEC team? Did you see that?
Sorry, Med. You know the Irish are going to beat the snot out of Alabama, right?
Alabama at Notre Dame. Right?
Alabama at Notre Dame. You're not going to take it, buddy. You're not.
Well, if that actually happens, Reg, we're all three of us are going to have to get together for a bar drink or something like that, and
we'll do a live. Hey, we got to do a live preview show. We'll do a
Sounds
live preview
lovely.
show.
So we are going to do a bowl pick'em, Reg,
at Inchies, Notre Dame bar.
We're going to have to talk to you about it later. We want to do a big. We did it last year.
True.
And we want to do all of the games in a 2-part special that second week of December.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look at that.
We start talking college. Look at the numbers.
And also at the same time, Janae, what you're saying is you need Jim Harbaugh to come back. Is that,
no, he ain't going to leave the Chargers.
You need Jesus to come back.
Herbert will kidnap
Ann Arbor Jesus.
He'll be like, I need to know winning again. He's like, I finally know how to win. You're not going anywhere. This is the first time Herbert's gotten to sniff winning, but one season of his career. He's not letting him go. No way.
No, they're not letting him go.
The Chargers are legit a sneaky dark horse team.
They looked good the other night. They impressed me.
Herbert has a 13-1 touchdown to interception ratio.
That's amazing.
And they can run and they can defend. And honestly, the AFC is up for grabs. It really is.
And you got a Hilton Head High graduate, Mr. Football in South Carolina, playing defensive tackle or nose tackle in Puna Ford, right out of Hilton Head, low country guy.
Yeah,
low country.
You guys are going to school me on college football.
So, real quick, Murph, I know that you like hearing about this, especially with what happened with the Gamecocks with LSU earlier this season. They went to Florida. Got their ass handed to them. How do you feel about that? What's going on with LSU, man? What's happening?
Listen, 2 things. Brian Kelly was the best thing that ever left Notre Dame. I'm going to tell you that right now.
He's preaching the gospel over here. I love it. I love this guy.
Yeah. Marcus Freeman is probably one of the best things that's actually happened to Notre Dame football. And I'm not going to put him out here yet because I haven't told him that I'm working on this, but I actually do have an inside source at Notre Dame. So, yeah, I actually do have an inside source at Notre Dame.
All right, man. Look at you. He's doing great, and he knows people.
Yeah. So that LSU game against, I called it on X. I put it out there that they were going to lose. I said that Brian Kelly's LSU Tigers were going to lose. Now, I was off by the score. I said it was going to be a 17-14 3-point game for the Gators. And obviously it was a little bit higher. They did better. What was it? 27-16, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I mean, here's what I have to look at when I look at the LSU is they had possession for almost 44 minutes and could not beat the Gators, who are 5-5. I'm not quite sure how you do that. I mean, Nussmeier is a good quarterback. He's thrown for almost 3,200 yards, but they just couldn't finish. They couldn't finish it out. I mean, and like you said, they went down there, they got straight stomped, and now LSU is looking at taking on Vandy and then also going to Oklahoma. I mean, they should have been able to seal a playoff game.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have. And they can't, and they didn't do it. I mean,
and shout out to Vandy. I mean, what an impressive season they've had so far. I mean, they already beat us. And I mean, that's a team that really just came out of nowhere. And, like you said,
the only bad thing, I hate to cheer for Vandy because freaking Skip Bayless, that's his alma mater. So Skip Bayless blows up Twitter every time Vandy gets a first down. I got to see Skip Bayless.
Skip is insufferable. I used to watch First Take. I can't do that dude anymore. I literally
he's fake, man. He's fake.
Yeah. He is fake. He says stuff to stir the pot.
Exactly.
And I'm like, don't get me wrong. Occasionally I make a post just to be ridiculous, but I'm not going to come on here and be like, man, I'm a Bears fan. I love the Bears. The Bears are the best team in the world. No, that's what Skip does.
He does. I mean,
my buddy actually works at Fox, and he has to listen to his crap every day.
He's a Commanders fan all of a sudden. All he posts about is the freaking Commanders all the time. The Commanders. It's like,
Oh, he switched loyalties because
he's constantly.
Dude, you know how many Cowboy jerseys went into the trash can?
Oh, I know.
mean, he at least throws like 3 or 4 into the garbage can every year.
It's the same jersey.
Yeah.
Are those like
he throws it in, it's like, oh no.
Jersey, it's the dumpster jersey. It just goes in the dumpster.
That's an authentic. Gotta bring it back out.
Unless you watch him burn it, it's the same one. He just cleans it. You'll watch it after. He's cheap too.
So, talking a little bit, we did discuss it, and this is the main reason why I wanted to bring y'all two on, and I discussed it with Isaac too, is that college football playoffs are almost here. Yes, we're talking almost getting into bowl season and everything like that. We already know what teams are most likely about to ring the bell. Can y'all give me some interesting bubble teams that you think have a chance of actually getting in there? Me personally, one of the teams that I actually have is Boise State is looking really nice right now. They got the best running back in the nation right now, in my opinion. I mean, he's about to break 2,000 yards. And, you know, their offense is unstoppable. Their defense is very stoppable. And, you know, everyone just runs through them. But, you know, do you have someone like a Boise State and SMU? I mean, I know that David has been looking at some of the coach has been looking at some of the potential Carolina Gamecocks even making it in there.
Listen, I'm just going to go ahead and set the record straight. I love my Gamecocks. Yes, I do. I'm Gamecock first, Irish second. All right. We're not getting into the playoffs at 7-3 right now. I would love to see it happen. I think the Gamecocks can win out the rest of their season. We got Wofford this weekend. That should be a good one. And then
Clemson.
And Clemson right now is, I mean, they look great. They struggled last week. They really did struggle. I will never say I am a Clemson fan at all, but I am a Dabo Swinney fan. I think he's a phenomenal coach, and he's done a lot for that program. And I think he'll continue to do great things. But Carolina's not going to make the playoffs, as much as I'd love to see it. If we had the LSU win, yes. If we had the win over Alabama and LSU, then 100%.
And they were winnable. Those are winnable.
Correct. But we found our fire after the Oklahoma game. That's what happened, and just a little too late, but it's there. So,
what about Texas A&M?
Texas A&M. I mean,
they can't get ahead of Notre Dame.
Yeah, no. I mean, is it possible? Sure. I mean, that's the nice thing about personally.
They'd have to win the SEC, I think. Right?
They would have to win the SEC, and I
what I was looking at.
Yeah, they would have to win out the SEC
because they're down to 15.
Yeah, which means they're going to be. They're going to have to take Georgia. They're going to have to take Texas. Yeah. And we already know that Texas and Georgia are already in.
Yep.
We already know that. I mean, Georgia's going to wind up probably coming in at 11th seed right now at where they're at. Because I think the rest of their.
You know who really is, you know who also is really in is Indiana. Because you know for a fact they cannot lose to Purdue. They will not lose to Purdue.
No.
They lose to Ohio State. They don't have to play in the Big Ten game. No. So now you're sitting at 11-1. They could sneak in. I bet you that happens. They'll get in, but not the way people think they're going to. They think they got to win the Big Ten to get in. They don't.
No, they don't. Not with their current record. I mean, they're undefeated right now. Ohio State is that game is either Indiana's to win and Ohio State's to lose, or flip it. One of the two. Yep. But either one of those two teams are they're personally, I think they're both in. Just where they fall is going to be
because the winner of those two teams is going to win the Big Ten probably. You got Oregon now, right?
You do, but Oregon right now is sitting at number 1. I mean, and look at the rest of their schedule.
You can actually lose that game. You can even lose that game. You lose to the number 1 team in the nation. You can lose that game.
Yeah, and you're not going to drop too far in the rankings. You're going to stay up pretty high.
Kansas State.
The BYU in Colorado will be playing each other. Most likely.
That was mine. I was going to ask about Colorado.
The BYU Colorado winner should not only get in, they could win one of the top 4 seeds and have a bye.
Yeah.
I think Colorado's good. If they win, they're definitely in because
Colorado wins out, they'll do it. BYU wins out.
They want Colorado in with Dion, with all the publicity. I can't talk today. Publicity.
Hey, maybe he's just a good coach. Okay.
He is a good coach. What about it? Wait. Conspiracy theory.
You
I don't
know,
want to
I'm
let
giving you a hard
Cowboys
time.
go long. What if he wins a bowl game? Doesn't win the national championship.
What, he wins a playoff game.
Yeah, what if he wins a playoff game? Do you think
Okay.
Jerry's calling him up? Hey, you want to come coach the Cowboys?
Okay, let me ask you a question let me answer a question with a question. I wouldn't call Dion young, but I would say he's full of youth. So any coach with youth who's new to coaching college football for the most part on the big stage, and he takes a program that's 1-11 and he gets them and wins a playoff game in 2 years, you would be the worst GM in the history of the NFL not to at least call that man. If his name wasn't Dion, we wouldn't be having that conversation. You call him every time, right?
I mean, especially with the ties to the Cowboys, I'm not like.
No,
I legitimately think they're going to do it, and
I think they'll do it. I think they'll call him. I don't think Dion wants to coach the Dallas Cowboys.
No, I don't think he does either.
I think that this is much to do about nothing, but I'm starting to believe more and more that more I see them hold on to McCarthy, the more I think he's going to give him a call. Well, he might be waiting to see how far they go and what does he really make that next step and get him a conference. I don't even think he has to win a playoff game. If he wins the conference championship and gets them into the playoffs after going 1-11 2 years ago, I think he deserves a phone call.
I still think they want Bill Belichick.
Belichick.
I think I almost said Bill
that's my personal leading candidate for the job. Not my favorite, but where I think this is all headed to is Belichick. They're going to set him up in the draft. There's things. I learned something very important this week that I'll be talking about on my show tonight. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott both have an option for void years in their contract in year 2, which is next year. So the Cowboys can save $70 million by just pressing a button and voiding it out to beyond their contract. They put that in place because there's going to be a new coach. There's going to be free agency money, and the new coach is going to have a top 5 draft pick after this debacle.
Yes.
Who else would not want that? I mean, Jerry's a problem, don't get me wrong, but they're setting it up nicely. McCarthy's getting, I almost want to feel sorry for him, but then he runs a fake punt, so I don't.
You almost going to take Shador with him.
I mean, they really set McCarthy up, in my opinion. They set him up to lose, so they didn't have to bring him back. And then the new coach coming in has got a hero's welcome. Here you go, dude. You're drafting 3rd in the draft, which is not far-fetched. We lose to the Giants on Thanksgiving, we'd be drafting number 1. But I'm going to say we probably won't. So maybe we drop 3rd. You got a top 5 draft pick. You got, here we're going to clear. The cap will go up 5 to 10 million easily, maybe 15 million, right? They raise it every year. They can push this button. You got 70 million. Micah Parsons, here's the other thing I learned this week. Micah Parsons' cap hit next year or this year can actually be smaller next year if they sign him. Because you sign a guy, you sign him to a 6-year deal. The first year doesn't have to be even with the next 6. They can cut him a break. So this coach coming in next year is going to have a lot of money to play around with.
It's true. Okay, I got one more team that I got to ask you about in the college thing. They're undefeated. Is there a scenario that Army squeaks in?
Yeah, they beat Notre Dame. They got to beat Notre Dame.
They got to beat Notre Dame this weekend.
Yep, that's it.
And I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
It's not even going to be close, man. You saw what Notre Dame did to Navy. They play a military academy every year in Navy. They've done it since World War II. They're not going to surprise them with anything they do. In fact, Navy has always been a better offense than Army, and I believe it is this year as well. It should not be close. I'd be shocked. I mean, it may not be you don't drop 50 points on a military academy, but I don't see this game being close at all.
I mean, looking at what Notre Dame normally does, and Mid, your screen went green there, homie.
I think he's taking a little break.
Yeah, so I think what's going to happen is I think Army and Notre Dame. It's going to be a good game to watch. People are going to watch it because obviously it's Notre Dame and the Army. They want to see what the Army does.
2 top 20 teams. It's going to be one of the
absolutely.
big games of the weekend.
And I think what you're going to see is Coach Freeman's going to do exactly what he does. He's going to give the ball to Love and let Love run. I mean, I don't foresee this weekend for Notre Dame being a big passing game. I think they're going to boost their rushing numbers.
You got Price that can run. You got Love, and you got Riley Leonard, who I think
who's great on the scramble.
He's Riley Leonard. For guys that don't watch as much college football as us, Isaac, I would describe Riley Leonard as a Josh Allen.
Ooh, I like that because Allen came in raw, but look what he's developed into.
He can burn you with his legs, and he will burn you with his legs. He averages, 60, 70 yards a game rushing.
He's up there.
I think he has
his second leading rusher that y'all have.
Yeah, he's 1 or 2 touchdowns away from setting the all-time single record for touchdowns on the ground. He I don't know, what has he got? 18 scores or something ridiculous, but
it's a lot. I know that.
I was trying to get it to pull up, but
all they got to do is run
more
the ball.
college than I ever have in my life, and I saw that one.
Oh, get him, Seth.
Seth having fun.
Let in a team that lost to Northern Illinois.
Yeah, that's the best thing that ever happened to Notre Dame, because when they lost to Northern Illinois, this is well documented, Marcus Freeman called the team in and he said, fellas, despite what the press is telling you, you can still make the playoffs. You can make it one way. We got to start blowing teams out. We're going to open up the offense. We're going to run it up in the third and fourth quarter. We're going to leave our starters in. And you know what? That's exactly what they've done. You go look at their scores. They hung 60 on Purdue, man.
Yeah.
They were still scoring. They're not messing around. This is the best thing that ever happened to them. Coach, tell me if I'm wrong, was losing to Northern Illinois. If they lose to Texas A&M first game and then they beat Northern Illinois, it's the same old Notre Dame. Can't beat a SEC team. They beat up on cupcakes.
Yeah.
We got the SEC win on our resume this year. Finally, we got a legit SEC, not a Vanderbilt, even though they're great this year. Would have been a nice win. But you know what I'm saying? A&M in their place. Alabama doesn't like to play A&M in their place.
Yeah, I mean, Texas A&M, we all know is a hard place to play.
No. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So
okay, I got one for you guys.
Yeah, so for Notre Dame to go out there and beat Texas A&M, take the loss to Northern Illinois, it's kind of I'm gonna quote probably both mine and Cowboys' favorite coach here. When you're the top, you only have one place to go, and that's down. And that's a Lou Holtz quote from when he was at Notre Dame. So you gotta, if you don't know how, there it is, grab it.
Ah!
There
This
he is,
man
right there.
Here.
That's right. That man's my hero.
Listen, right on my wall.
I miss watching him on game day where he used to spit on everything from his list.
I miss watching him jump around at Carolina on the sidelines on a Saturday. For a man
triple option
as small as he is, he could jump as high as his players are tall. That man right there is a phenomenal coach, no matter what anybody said about him at Carolina.
And him and Freeman have a nice relationship.
They do.
Yeah.
So I think Notre Dame needed the loss no matter what. And, they're going to, of course, it's Alabama. It's Alabama. So, of course, I'm an SEC guy. But at the same time, hey, go Irish.
That's fine.
We'll watch that one at the house, Mid.
Okay, here's my question for y'all. Who do you guys like as a dark horse team that's already in the playoff that you think could actually surprise and win the national championship?
Who you want first? And we'll do
Ned, do you want to go?
Let's do the circle there.
Yeah, sure.
Why don't you go?
So One of the teams that I actually think I actually do like Indiana, to be honest. I mean, a lot of people don't really look at them, but you look at their offense. Rourke has been doing really well up there. Their defense is actually, they're the only team right now that if you were actually look at them, that is not like Oregon or Texas, a team you kind of look at and be like, oh, okay. They're the only team outside of those few teams that has a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense. Not only are they putting points on the board, they're stopping people too. And, you can sit there and say, what about who they play and everything? They're playing the same guys that Penn State and Ohio State and Oregon are playing. They're playing the same teams. And this is one of those arguments that I have with people all the time with the SEC teams is, they're playing each other. That's why they're always getting the big bowl bids or they're getting into the playoffs, is because they are playing top ranked teams. And even though the SEC is arguably the best, and it's no arguably, they are the best conference in the college football realm, but Big Ten is probably the second. So they're playing some top. I mean, look at Wisconsin, them almost beating Oregon. I mean, go Badgers.
Yeah. That was wild.
You just said go Wisconsin. I like it. He said go Wisconsin.
Isaac, I got to run.
I actually like the Badgers.
I got to run. To prep for my show.
I know, Reg. Hey, thank you, man, for hopping on.
But if you guys don't mind me cutting in, I'll give you my pick and then I'll skedaddle and you can tell everyone how stupid my pick is. But I want you to really hear what I'm saying. Oregon's number 1, but they're not the favorite to win the national championship. People don't believe they can do it. Mm-hmm. So my dark horse pick is actually Oregon. I think they can do it this year. I think they have a nice team on both sides of the ball. Yep. They've played. I believe they played a solid schedule. Being in the Big Ten now, it's tough to play all these Midwest style teams back to back to back to back. They're used to West Coast teams, and for them to go undefeated, and they'll probably lose now that I'm picking them, I think is impressive, and I think they're battle tough, and they're my pick going in. I'm just saying that's my pick going in. If Notre Dame, obviously, I'm not picking them to win it all, but unless Oregon's running into Notre Dame, I'm probably going to be pulling for them because I kind of feel a little underdog mentality with them, even though they're number 1. I think you being an SEC guy, Med, you probably will tell me I'm right. I hope. You probably don't take them quite as serious as you would if they were SEC number 1.
So I actually had a belligerent Bulldog fan sitting on the table next to me over at the R Bar the other day, and he was saying something along the lines of
I know that guy.
Yeah, he was like, Oregon has no chance against the SEC teams. Look, I'm going to be straight up with you.
That's what I'm saying.
They have a chance.
Yep.
And I agree with Reg on this one because Oregon is that team. There's a reason why they have 62 unanimous first place votes.
Yeah.
Right, no one else got that.
That's big.
And I mean, I love their coach. I love their defense. I like how they play and everything like that. Dylan Gabriel is definitely a Heisman front runner in some cases. I know that a lot of people are big on Sanders and Ward. I'm bigger on Ward personally, but I mean, they're loaded. And, you not only can do you have to stop that offense, you actually have to beat that defense too now.
Yeah, they're legit. So
Reg,
I'm going to duck out, guys. Appreciate y'all having me on. I'm going to go prep for my show. And,
Reg, really quick, can you plug it?
You guys stay where you are because all we do is BS for the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes usually, if we even are on by then. Hear these guys out, especially when I leave. I'm sure they got some jokes. But Sons of Star Pod is on X. Sons of Star Pod is where we are. You could go to Cowboy Irish _ Cowboy 88, and I'll have retweeted it. But either one of those places will get you to our pod when you're done with this one. Otherwise, hit us up. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple. Everywhere you guys are, we're right behind you. You guys are pros. We appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
So enjoy the rest of your show, guys.
Thanks for joining, dude.
Reg,
right,
1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're talking about doing a bowl pick'em with some of the other podcasters for all the bowls and everything. We would like to extend an invitation to you, sir.
Count us in.
It's a 2-parter on a Tuesday and a Friday if you can do it.
Okay. All
cool.
right, we'll do it.
Dude.
All right, guys.
See you, dude.
Murphy, you're getting one too.
I appreciate it.
We're going to be having 6 to 8 because
Nice.
I actually met. It's really funny. Bill has a buddy who wants to join a show too. I met last night at the hockey game. Let me kick him. Yeah, there he is. Okay. All right. Do we like this layout or should we change it?
I'm good with it.
That looks better.
I think it's better. The other one was
you can actually see all my trash around me.
Yeah, let's look at all your garbage.
All my garbage, my little Funkos and everything.
I like what Jason said. That was bold, man. I like it.
So real quick, we're going to go into what we call, well, we got a little intro for it. We'll just play that so you could figure out.
I know what this is.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Sometimes we agree with it and sometimes we don't. This is buy or sell.
So this is buy or sell. I will kind of, just for time purposes, I will back out a little bit on my comments. Basically, you got a minute to basically show your shine, is how I would say. And first question up, it's going to be a simple things of 6. As far as what I posted on X earlier today, some people disagree with me, some people do not. What is your take on Shedeur Sanders on being if he is the real deal or not? And guest always go first.
Guest go first, huh?
Yep.
All right. Listen.
You don't have to every time, but yeah.
No, I'll go. So am I buying or selling them? All right.
Okay, so let me clarify a little bit more. He's being looked at as a possible number 1 overall pick.
So first, all right. So here's what I'm going to tell you about what I know about Shedeur Sanders. And again, I know Colorado is up and coming. They're doing good things. Coach Prime's out there. As far as whether or not, one of the questions on your post was whether or not he was like Johnny Manziel. I don't agree with that. And the reason being is he's grown up in that spotlight with his dad being in the pros. Okay. So I think he's a little bit more accustomed to it. Whether or not he's overrated or not. And I'm a little torn because looking at his stats over the last 4 years, he's actually increased except for what he's done in 2022, or excuse me, in 2023. He kind of fell off. He had about a 69% completion rate. Currently he's at 72% with, over 3,200 yards, 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I mean, of those interceptions, 18 of them are against conference opponents. So, and if you take a look at what he just did last week against Utah, I mean, he went 30 for 41, 340 yards for 73%. I mean, in the last 5 games, his average is over 50, is almost 1,600 yards. Do I think he's a number 1 draft pick? No. And the reason I say that is because he really is one good or one bad or good game away from it, because he's got some very, very heavy competition right behind him. He's got Cam Ward at Miami. He's got Carson Beck at UGA. Not that I know he's early as a favorite as an early pick, but not necessarily top pick. But he's also got Drew Allar over at Penn State. He's got Curtis Rourke at Indiana right now, Jason Dart, and Ethan Hampton at Northern Illinois. There you go, Seth. So I don't think he's the number 1 pick, but I do think that you're going to see him continuously get better, even if his dad does leave Colorado, because he is getting better at what he does. He is starting to mature as a quarterback, and the numbers don't lie. So looking at it from a stat point, I'd get behind him. I'd buy him, I guess, if that's what you're looking for.
I'm not buying him as the number 1 pick, but I'm buying that he could be an NFL quarterback, because he kind of nailed it. His completion percentage, he didn't go up from his sophomore to junior, but it was pretty close. But when you're average, I know he only has 2,800 yards, 2,900 almost, but 73% completion. It's for a legit team. I could be wrong. There's a good chance I am. I don't scout enough college, but the eyeball test is telling me this guy has a shot, especially if it's going to help. It's going to be a good look if they go in the playoff. And actually, even if they lose, if he plays well, if they make the playoff. But they're top, 20 team. I don't know. I really like the fact that his dad's coaching and he's still producing. I think I wouldn't buy him as a top 5 pick. I think that's too high for him. But Bo Nix was outside the top 10 and is starting to look like a franchise quarterback. Yeah. I don't think you have to be a top 5 pick to be a franchise QB. I mean, Dak was a 4th rounder. He's gone on to have a productive career with the Cowboys. Russell Wilson was, a 3rd or 4th rounder? He won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks. You don't have to be top 5. Jordan Love was outside the top 20. So was Aaron Rodgers. Favre was outside the top. Sometimes Mahomes was 10th overall. I just gave a bunch of examples that weren't Packers. Mahomes was 10th. People mess up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now they also
10, I could see it working for him.
Yeah, I think right now they're, what I see is that if he does go, he's looking at probably around 13.
And I think it's a good spot for him because then you're going to go to a team that is better equipped, unless you're the stupid Raiders, for success.
I was going to say that is actually the team that is most tied to him. So
really,
they need him bad.
Because if he right now with the way I was looking at the draft rankings earlier, if he does go first round as a quarterback, he's going to the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Because Patriots don't need a quarterback right now.
No, the Patriots. It's so funny because I'm wondering what the Falcons are going to do. They're going to have to roll with Kirk Cousins for a minute because they gave him a 4-year deal, but they obviously invested in Penix for a reason.
Well, they're doing exactly what Reg talked about. They did exactly. They took the Green Bay.
They did. They paid the dude, and they were like, "We've got your successor in the wings with a hell of a talented offense."
All right. So let me see if I actually hit the right one. Number 2.
Thank you.
Did the Chiefs have a good loss, and will it wake them up before the playoffs?
So are we still staying with guess first here on this one?
Yeah. Well, we'll go with Isaac on this one. If college, I'll let you get it. NFL, he goes first.
Sounds good. There we go.
Murph's all right, good.
You're getting 3 sentences.
Murph, by the way, dude, for your first show ever, dude, our first shows were audio, and our first video, I've watched it, was straight garbage compared to what we're doing now. Horrible. I'm not saying we're on fire, but we've learned a lot. That's for damn
good stuff.
Thank you for Justin. It's good to see you. Okay. I do think it's a good loss for them, but I don't think it matters. They're not three-peating. I'm gonna go put it out there. Chiefs aren't three-peating. I don't know if it's gonna be the Bills, the Ravens, or the Steelers. I can't see anybody else. The Bengals just don't have the defense. I love Burrow in that offense, but they just don't. It's going to be one of those 3. I don't. Maybe the Chiefs get back there and get destroyed by the Lions, but I think they're actually going to lose before the Super Bowl. I do. Brady never pulled this off for a reason. War of attrition's tough. I know you can do it in the NBA. Jordan did it. Kobe did it, but it hasn't happened in the NBA in almost 20 years, over 20 years as well. The Warriors couldn't even do it. Injuries happen. Your body can only take so much doing those sustained runs. This is the NFL. I love Mahomes. I love Reed. I love Spagnuolo. If they can keep Spagnuolo, they're going to win another one soon because they'll restock the cupboard. But it's not happening this year. It's just not. I'd put money on it. It's not happening.
Dave.
Listen, I'll go back to what I said earlier when we were talking about the Bills and Chiefs game. I think the Bills defensive is really what kept them in that game. They had they were playing great. Josh Allen had a great run at the very end. First off, Kansas City looked off, to be honest with you. They didn't look as good as I've seen them in the past. And I am not a bandwagon Chiefs fan. I do like Patrick Mahomes. I think he's a good quarterback, and I will jump in there and I'll watch a Chiefs game.
Your sister is, though.
Yeah, that's what I hear. But that's, you know what? So are all the other. Never mind. Anyways, but I think it was a good loss for them, and I think it showed everybody else how to beat them. And not only that, but if you really want to beat the Chiefs, just send Taylor Swift to Canada.
There you go.
That's what she was during the game.
The Broncos should have beat them the week before, so they lucked out like the Packers just did. It was the same thing. They got outplayed against the Broncos and just lucked out because the Broncos, as good as they are and they're coming, they're not there. The Bills are. So they couldn't play around with the Bills because the Bills were like, no. Allen is not afraid of Mahomes in the postseason.
No.
or the regular season. He should have beaten them once in the postseason, but didn't get a chance in the playoffs. Blew it last year, but he's now 4-1 against Mahomes in the regular season.
Yeah, you could see that he
He's
was
not afraid of him. He's not.
Yeah, you could see that he was extremely confident playing that game,
Mhm.
and you know
He knew he had him. They're not the same on D either. Yeah. They're not the same on either side of the ball. And last year was just their offense. This year it's both. Yeah, maybe they'll turn around and get it together, but I just don't think they have the personnel.
And then from what I'm, jumping back to your Broncos comment, Sean Payton's doing really good stuff out there. So I think it's a really good team for him. It's a great fit for him. And, I mean, what was it? It bounced off the Broncos lost that with it bouncing off the field goal on the upright. So, I mean, just a luck of a bad kick, I don't know.
LaFleur's even done it this season. I hate it. I hate when coaches play for that game-winning field goal from like 40 plus. Don't do it. LaFleur did it once and got away with it. He's got away with it twice.
Yeah.
And with shaky kickers too. Don't play to not lose. That's what Eberflus just did. Look what happened.
Yeah.
Because that can happen. I'm shocked the Packers are on the right side of a special teams blunder. We never are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't play to not lose. You play to win.
All right. So we already kind of talked about Jerry Jones earlier, so I'm going to skip that one. Number 4. I'm glad that actually comes.
What was that?
It's a beer bottle opening because this is like.
I heard it sound. I was like,
I'll take one.
There you go. Nice and cold for you, baby. I also got well, that would be fitting for the Jerry Jones question, but we already covered that. Number 4, Boise State recasting itself as a David versus Goliath role again. They did this back in the 90s. Some of y'all weren't alive when that happened, but they were known for having the Liberty play that beat Oklahoma back in like 97 or something like that. So are they doing this again?
Well, I can't comment to that game because I wasn't big watching college ball back in 97, to be honest with you. But right now, I mean, looks like Boise State, first off, I hate that field. The blue field is horrendous. It's horrendous. But, I mean, I think they're poised to probably go around. They're like 4th seed right now. So, I mean, they're doing good things with their running back. I mean, Ashton Genty? He's phenomenal right now. I mean, obviously, I know he's a contender for the Heisman. What is he averaging? Looks like he's got 1,048 yards in conference with 174 attempts, 13 rushing touchdowns. He's a beast, man. He's one of the best running backs out there right now. And I mean, I'd love to be able to say that it's actually our guy Rocket Sanders at Carolina, but I mean, this guy is he is good. He's good, and Boise State's going into play Wyoming next week. I mean, Wyoming's 2-8. That should be an easy win.
Next will be pretty easy for them.
Or this weekend rather. They're playing. Yeah, this weekend they're playing. Wyoming, and then I think their final game is. I don't remember who their final game is off the top of my head, but I mean, Genty's got what? Almost 1,900 yards. I think it's like 19. Yeah, he's like 1,900 yards with 256 carries for 26 touchdowns. He's averaging almost 8 yards a carry, or what is that? 7.4 yards a carry. I think Boise State's primed to take it. And then honestly, jumping back to your other question, them and Indiana are my dark horses for the playoffs, man. And I'd like to see it because as much as I love our SEC, but I can't keep winning them.
No, you can't.
It's time to mix it up a little bit. That's why I like this 12-game playoff, to be honest with you.
I do. I think it's great. It's good for college football, man.
And go ahead real quick, because what he just said alluded to the next question, but what's your take, Isaac?
Okay, really quick. Sorry, because I was sending you something on a DM.
Yeah.
What was your question?
Is Boise State recasting itself as the David of a David versus Goliath match?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they have a legit chance, as good as Oregon is. And I love Texas, here. I think there's a solid chance they actually pull this out and win this. I don't think this is going to be the final. I think I think either Colorado or it depends if they can beat Notre Dame. I don't think they can. I don't think Army can beat Notre Dame, but I think Colorado and another team are going to squeak in the bottom. There's going to be some crazy upset in that first round. That's going to be nuts. And then Boise's going to get a kind of a cupcake matchup. They're going to take advantage. And they might have a shot at – I think they're going to make it further than people expect. I really like their odds here. I still would favor Oregon, though. I really would.
I like it.
I would.
And
I'm not to disagree with Reg. I think that people are not expecting them to win, and that's why they're – You're me, man. That was funny.
So two more questions.
Give me stuff during the show. It's hilarious.
So number 5. So I actually read up on this. So they're going to talking about expanding out the college football playoffs to 14 teams and then up to 16 teams. To me, I think 12 teams is perfect. So the big question is, should the college football playoffs be expanded in the future?
I think 14 teams is right now. It's 12. It's good. It's interesting. We're all learning how it works. Moving it to 14, I think would be okay. It's going to give some of your lower, it's going to give those 7-3 teams maybe a fair, fighting chance there. Yeah. I'm pointing at my hat there. Mm-hmm. Giving them a shot, especially if they can, earlier, if Carolina can finish out the rest of their season, they're going to be sitting at 8-3. So then they're going to go to a bowl game. So depending on what happens there, I think 14 could be okay. I don't think I'd go any higher than 14 because then you're going to be turning it into exactly what Med just said right there in this comment, March Madness. We were talking about this the other night, actually.
It's up 62 teams. Why not?
I mean,
yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. Why not?
It's like halfway through the season. Okay, you're 5-0. Okay, you're in.
Yeah, It's exactly. I mean, at that point, you're going to give teams like, and I'm going to go back to when UCF had a shot at when they were technically ranked the number 1 team in this particular series, they would have a shot at playing that game, but not at 16 games. Keep it at 14 max. 12 is good right now.
I agree with
Mafia. Mafia's great. You'd like him.
Yeah, you're right.
Cowboy. Or you'd like him, Murph. Seriously. He's awesome. Let the Pop-Tarts Bowl be one of the playoff games.
I remember the celebration afterwards. The winning team got to eat the mascot of the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and it was really kind of morbid because they put him in a toaster. He goes down, he comes out, and they're all eating him afterwards. Yeah. It was like, what?
Listen, that's better than getting a big giant tub of mayonnaise dumped on your head at the Mayo Bowl.
It really
Sorry.
Is.
Yeah.
Matt, what else you got?
So last one, and this is an NFL one, so Isaac can get some shine. What is your feelings on Josh Allen taking over as the potential number 1 contender for the MVP award this season?
So funny, I just posted about them being the biggest threat to the Chiefs, and I really do think that him or as good as Lamar Jackson is, I think that it should be Josh Allen or Jared Goff that wins the MVP. And Josh Allen, I know he's had a couple turnovers in the last few games. Yeah, you got here just in time, Mafia. I'm going to talk about your boy because you're not biased about him at all. It's okay.
Not at all.
Not at all. He's awesome. And if they get a top 2 seed, he should get it. Unless the Lions go 16-1, and then we need to have a conversation. But the problem is, a lot of their wins, they haven't even needed Jared Goff. After the 5 turnover game, they were like, hey, let's go on. Let's just score on our first 7 drives. Let's do that. How's that sound? I need to buff my MVP odds back up. And what happened? 7 in a row. And somehow Doug Peterson's still a coach in the NFL. I don't know how. Head coach. It makes no sense. I would in this order, I would have Josh Allen. I don't want to hear about Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. He isn't. No, not this season. I would have Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson. If it's just a quarterback award, I would still love to see Saquon Barkley. It's stupid because Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry deserve some shine. Both of them do. And if you're talking defenses, TJ Watt deserves some shine. He really does. No. That defense, the Steelers wouldn't be beating teams like the Ravens with 6 field goals if it wasn't for TJ Watt.
It's a badass kicker.
I know, dude. I had him in fantasy. He saved me. 6 field goals. Boom. I won because of him, actually. But no, man. I think Josh Allen should be the front runner for MVP, and behind him needs to be Jared Goff. Seriously, that's where I'm at. Murph, what you think?
Go Gamecocks. Yeah, I'm gonna go with you.
Josh Allen. I mean,
he looked great during the Bills game. I mean, he looked great against Kansas City, like we said earlier. Obviously, I know who these guys are. I just don't follow them the same way y'all do, being down here.
But college football's king down here. So.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I get it. Mets told me about it.
Listen, I can go with that. I mean, I agree. I mean, what I saw in that game, I can see why he would be a candidate for MVP. So,
and he's got 18 TDs, 5 picks, 5 rushing TDs in the year, so 23 TDs. His completion percentage isn't his career best, but it's at 64. It's not bad. He's already got 2,500 passing yards, 300 rushing. He's a large part of their offense.
But he also has a signature win right now over the Chiefs.
That's a signature win.
And that's a big thing right there. Lamar Jackson just lost. Yep. And they were struggling at the beginning of the year. Yes, he turned it around. And if you look at the total touchdowns and everything, Lamar Jackson is higher, but he's not 8-2, and he has not beaten the Chiefs.
So they're 7-4 now. So that's a problem because they're 7-4. So they've lost. Yeah, they're just. He's not. The team isn't playing as well as it did last year, and with Derrick Henry, that's going to hurt Lamar Jackson's chances of getting it a third time. It just is. It is, and it should actually. It's not on him, but if you're winning this award and it's becoming, where you're repeatedly winning it, you need to do something to beat yourself, and he's not. As good as he's been statistically, the team is worse off with Derrick Henry, and you can't blame him so much because the D is not. It's not nearly as good as it was, but those little things matter.
Yeah, I agree. And we're coming up on an hour and 30 minutes, so we're going to probably just go ahead and send it. Thank you, all 289 people that are watching right at this moment. That is really awesome of y'all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, almost at 300. Nice. Thanks, guys.
Coach Dave, you're not completely set up right yet, but
not yet.
How much longer do you think it's going to be before you come out, bud?
Well, with the way things went, trying to get on the show tonight, it looks like I've got a little bit longer to figure out some computer issues on that one. But hey, that's part of it, right?
This is fun, dude.
I'm honestly, I'm hoping to be up and going with Code 4 Sports by December 1, to be honest with you. Awesome. That's my goal, is in 2 weeks and get the first thing put out there. So
if you want to come back on here and just basically wet your chops a little bit more, you're more than welcome. I'm pretty sure Isaac wouldn't have an issue with that, or even on my show or even his show. I mean, just let us know. And
I'm just sad I didn't get to hear more of your stories about how y'all didn't block each other and stuff. Come on.
Listen.
Oh, no. He didn't.
Maybe one day we'll do a live show and actually show that one.
You sure you want that noise?
Listen. There's a reason why I had you coaching the defensive line and I coached the linebackers and DBs, okay? Listen, all right, we'll just set the air straight. I didn't block them.
He tried.
I got an A for effort.
You got an A for effort. And that's
so,
all.
Ned, what you got coming up? Are you doing shots this week, or are you taking a break for a couple weeks?
Well, I got a hockey game this Thursday, so I will not be able to actually do the show this week. And then we got Thanksgiving next week, so 2-week hiatus for your boy for shots and everything like that. Who knows if Seth, if you're still on there, just give me a thumbs up. If you want to actually do something or not, that is fine. Either way, I don't care. So,
and I'll be in Arizona, so I won't have fun football this Friday. Likely not next Friday either, because that's when I fly back. I may try one Thanksgiving weekend. So this might be my last show for the month of November, but I'll be back in December. We got some goodies. I got a former Packer coming on in December, Mark Cannon, Bill's buddy. I believe it's the first week. He was an offensive lineman with the Packers in the 80s with Magic Man at quarterback. So I'm excited.
Oh, Wachowski?
Yeah. He was a center and a guard for him. Yes.
Magic Man.
Hey, now we're going to be talking about some NFL I actually do know.
Exactly.
Old school stuff.
Thank you.
But I may try one when I'm in Arizona with my dad. If it ends up working out, I will try to promote it beforehand. I'd love to get Med and Bill on. But I am planning a fantasy football like big blowout special before the Super Bowls for fantasy. I want to try to get Scotty King on. Med, if you want to do it on here, I'm game. I was going to do it on Fun Football, but I'd love to get fantasy finance back on. There's a lot of fantasy guys I talk to on Twitter, so it'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. And thank you to 300. We just hit 300. We stayed on long enough. Thank you guys. We will see you.
You are Spartan.
December. Murph, this was awesome, dude.
Thank you for the invite, guys. Glad to be here.
Hey, no problem. Have a good night, everyone.
Deuces.